Shannon Sharpe. Ooh, the biggest mouth in TV history. Well, maybe one of the biggest mouths ever. That title could belong to Stephen A. Smith as well. Anyways, though, this is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Shannon Sharpe teaming up with Stephen A. Smith on ESPN's First Take on Mondays and Tuesdays during the NFL season. This now sets the stage of Shannon Sharpe being able to fully move on from his work with Skip Bayless. With Shannon Sharpe joining First Take with Stephen A. Smith, he has now essentially swapped Skip Bayless in exchange for Stephen A. Smith. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So, here it is. What is your reaction to Shannon Sharpe joining Stephen A. Smith on First Take? And honestly, I don't love this move for Shannon Sharpe. I know a lot of people on Twitter and Instagram are saying, oh man, this is an awesome move for Shannon Sharpe. This is definitely going to be must-watch TV. And a lot of people are telling me, oh man, did you see Shannon Sharpe? Did you see he joined First Take? Oh, it's going to be a great show with Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith. But I don't feel that way at all. I don't think this is going to be a great show at all. Do you know why I feel that way? It's because of the fact that Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith are two of the same kind of people. In a debate show, you want two people who are polar opposites. Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith are not polar opposites. They are two of the same people. When you talk about Shannon Sharpe, he's a Cowboys hater that's a loudmouth and likes to run his mouth and swallow his words when he talks. And he likes to be very boisterous about it. Stephen A. Smith, on the other hand, likes to overemphasize every single word that he says while being as loud as possible. So when you put that together on the set for a show, it's going to be two of the same thing. Yeah, it might be must-watch TV for a day or two. And then what's going to happen? They got anything new that they could come up with? Any new content? Any different curveballs they could throw with? I mean, Shannon Sharpe is going to be like, yeah, Stephen A. Dallas Cowboys, they're going to be really horrible this year. I don't believe in Dak Prescott. I don't believe in Tony Pollard. Cowboys, yeah, they're going to keep doing what they do every year, which is falling the playoffs. And then Stephen A. Smith is going to be like, yeah, the Cowboys are an accident waiting to happen. And he's going to be saying that as loud as possible with his eyes as wide as possible. That shit tick will get old very quick. It would be fun to listen to for a day, but then what? Outside of Cowboys topics where they could hate on the Cowboys, it's like, really? That's it? That's all you got? And the answer to that would be yes, that's all they got. And that's for Shannon Sharpe. I'm disappointed that he took this job. Shannon Sharpe should have gone independent and focused on Club Shay Shay. I think Shannon Sharpe would have been great working independently. This guy left Undisputed so he could be a part-time contributor on First Take. Shannon, do you even make any sense? Because Shannon Sharpe was complaining that he didn't have a big enough role in Undisputed, that he wasn't the star of the show. He wanted to be the star of the show, and he wanted to overtake Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless said no to that. You're not going to become the star of the show. Either accept the role that you're currently in or get out. And Shannon Sharpe recognized, hey, I gotta go ahead and get out. And Shannon Sharpe was running this mouth all summer about how he was going to be the star of the next show that he was going to be on, and how he was going to play on an even bigger role. And now he ends up going to First Take. It sounds like ESPN didn't even give him that big of a contract. There's no way ESPN handed him out a big contract, considering the fact that they are doing all these roster cuts that they're doing right now with their employees. So Shannon Sharpe is probably not even making that much on First Take. And the fact that he's only going on First Take for 2 days, that means he's going to be in an even lesser role than he was on Undisputed. That means he only gets to debate with Stephen A. Smith twice during the NFL season, on Mondays and Tuesdays. So let me get this straight. So you're not happy working for 5 days a week with Skip Bayless because you wanted to be the star of the show. You weren't good enough to be a number 2 option. So instead, now you want to go on to a show where you'll have an even smaller platform, but you only work 2 days a week and you get to be part-time, and you're not even going to be the main focal point of the show. You're literally being the beta male to Stephen A. Smith now. He was being a beta male to Skip Bayless for 7 years. Now he's a beta male to Stephen A. Smith for 2 days a week. Let's see how long this lasts, because let me tell you something about Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith. While both of them are great for TV, they also both have trouble getting along with their co-workers. For Stephen A. Smith, the only co-worker that has seemed to genuinely ever love him was Skip Bayless. For Shannon Sharpe, the only person that seemed to be able to tolerate his crap was Skip Bayless. Speaking of Skip Bayless, that guy also burns bridges too. It's almost like those three were made for each other. Even though they're great for television, they're not necessarily made for getting along with other people. And Shannon Sharpe, what he did reminded me of what a lot of these NBA players do, right? Because you think about how all these NBA players, they request trades all the time. The moment that they feel like the going is getting tough or they're unhappy, oh, I want out. Like James Harden, like Kyrie Irving, like any other superstar in the NBA. They always say, oh, I want out. Go ahead and get me out. And the NBA teams are like, okay, yeah, we'll get you out, because contracts in the NBA are essentially meaningless. And Shannon Sharpe, that's exactly what he did. The moment he became unhappy with Skip Bayless, he decided, okay, yeah, let me go ahead and try to leave Undisputed, and let me try to team up with Stephen A. Smith on First Take, just so I can get my people on Twitter satisfied. And that's the problem that I have with Shannon Sharpe right here, because he just keeps following what people on Twitter are telling him to do. Now look, am I happy that Shannon Sharpe gets to go on First Take? Yeah, maybe. If he does a good job on First Take, I'll be one of the first ones to say, you know what? Great job by Shannon Sharpe. He really knew what he was doing on First Take. He really knew what it took to make must-watch TV on ESPN, which is an amazing accomplishment considering all things that are going on with ESPN right now. With the way how ESPN is going right now, I would not be surprised if they will be defunct by 2030. When you talk about Shannon Sharpe, he just keeps relying on Twitter, and when you keep relying on Twitter, you're going to make flawed decisions. I remember Kevin Durant joined the Brooklyn Nets, not because he wanted to join the Brooklyn Nets, but because Kyrie Irving wanted to be a member of the Brooklyn Nets. You don't let other grown men make decisions for you when you're a grown man. Shannon Sharpe, you've got to step to the plate and you've got to make your own decisions. I mean, are we even sure that this guy was actually unhappy with Skip Bayless? I mean, yeah, he was unhappy with Skip, but was he unhappy with Skip because he genuinely was, or was he unhappy with Skip because people on Twitter kept telling him to be unhappy with Skip Bayless because of this DeMar Hamlin situation? He knew what Skip Bayless meant, and look, Skip Bayless isn't right with what he said about DeMar Hamlin. He shouldn't have said what he said about him, but for Shannon Sharpe to react the way that he did, that was not normal behavior. He should have just listened to Skip's set his side and then moved on. It's plain and simple. Look, I'm not saying that Skip Bayless was right for putting out the DeMar Hamlin tweet. He wasn't. He probably shouldn't even have tweeted that to even begin with. He probably should have taken it down. But if he didn't, he didn't. Let a grown man make his decisions and move on. He acted like Skip Bayless tweeted out something about the KKK or something. Instead, now he wants to get offended and everything like that. He wants to take his ball and go home. I mean, that's not normal behavior. That's childlike behavior. That's pettiness right there. And that's a sign of immaturity. Let me tell you something as a grown man. When you're a grown man, you want to be able to make your own decisions. That's the great thing about being a grown man. You take ownership of the decisions, good or bad. Shannon Sharpe doesn't have that in the system. Shannon Sharpe doesn't have ownership. Whenever things go wrong, the first thing that he does is, okay, let me find somebody else to go ahead and blame my failures for. I'm never going to blame myself because I always believe that I am a superstar in the media. And Shannon Sharpe, even though he does have his moments, and even though he is funny sometimes, he's not a superstar in sports media. He's not the guy that's going to say, oh my goodness, we're going to get 10 million more viewers to watch the show because of Shannon Sharpe. Yeah, he might get a small segment of the population, but he's not going to get majority of the people. He might get the black people to go ahead and watch him. He might go ahead and get the ghetto folks to go ahead and watch him. But is he going to get the regular common white man to go ahead and watch him? No, he's not going to go ahead and watch him. Now, I'll admit, I'll go ahead and watch Shannon Sharpe, but that's because I find him somewhat funny. But a lot of people don't find him funny. A lot of people find him to be obnoxious. A lot of people find Shannon Sharpe to be very idiotic because of the way that he speaks, with all the marbles that he's got in his mouth. Yeah, Skip, yeah, oh yeah, that was going on. Oh, LeBron James, he's the GOAT. I mean, that shit can only take you so far in sports media. Eventually, people are going to be like, oh yeah, the Shannon Sharpe guy, he just don't know how to speak. I'm not even going to listen to the rest of his segments because he don't know how to speak whatsoever. And could you imagine if you watched a whole 2-hour show of, yeah. Well, Stephen A. Smith would be like, yeah, let's go. And could you imagine those noises being made for 2 straight hours and nothing ever changed? It would be very repetitive and it would become very boring. And Shannon Sharpe, he should have stayed on his own show because when he's on Club Shay Shay, he actually knows how to talk reasonably and he doesn't turn out to be some wokester when he's doing his own podcast. But now that he's joined First Take, now he's going to continue being a wokester and now that's going to continue to turn people off. Overall though, I just don't like the move that Shannon Sharpe made from FS1 to ESPN. I don't think joining Stephen A. Smith on First Take was a very smart move. I don't think it's going to work out for either side. So that is why I'm not all that excited over Shannon Sharpe teaming up with Stephen A. Smith on First Take, as they will end up fizzling out in the long term. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That will be for the @Dustin Tran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @Dustin Tran and @Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.